Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Meet the Booru. I'm Weggies, joined today by guest host Takenoko.
Hello, and today our guest is Nasir6r.
Welcome to the show,
Yeah.
Nasir.
Thank you, Dastard. Hello, Catamite. Hmm.
So,
Alrighty.
do you,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry. Nasir, before we begin, do you have anything you want to plug?
Um, anything I want to plug?
Like, any websites, Tumblr?
Oh, I thought you meant plug as. Never mind. I suppose I could just. I'd say there's something my own I can plug. Ooh. No,
Oh
just
gosh.
just my just my my website and my paste bin, which is practically just like Nasir6r at Tumblr. But like, how do Tumblr URLs usually look? Anyway, yeah, Nasir6r.
I'll have a link to it on the screen
Yeah.
and in the description as well so people can click on them.
Yes, indeed. All this preparation for this thing, and it's like, what does that URL even look like? All right.
Alright, let's start with some questions about yourself. The first one being the origin and meaning behind your name, Nasir6r.
Yes, Nasir6r or Nasir6r. Just not Nasir. Long time ago, Mayclore called me Nasir, and that just stuck, and that's problematic. And I'll explain why with the meaning of the name. The name Nasir is Arabic, and it means a person who either aids, defends, or renders support in some way. All right. It's pronounced Nasir. If you pronounce it Nasir, it completely changes the meaning utterly. Makes it. Actually, I don't even think it means anything in Arabic. So there you go. But kind of like Akbar and Akhbar. Akbar means great. Akhbar means snake. So there you go. The 6R is uh, is where it kind of gets a little hinky, and the 6R comes from the fact that I am, to my knowledge, the sixth Richard in my line. So my dad's name was Richard, his name was Richard, and so on and so forth. And I'm at least number 6, as I understand it.
Yeah. Now, do the names like go junior, like Richard, Richard Jr., Richard the third, Richard the fourth, or do you
Yeah.
just say Richard?
Yeah, no, it's totally, yeah, Richard the Third. That was totally my ancestor. He was like a psychotic hunchback. No. Usually how it worked, it's kind of funny. There's usually, I think it's like every second or yeah, every odd Richard will also have a nickname. So my dad, his name's Richard, but he goes by Tony. I don't know why he goes by Tony. But apparently, one of the things is that my great granddad, he was Richard, but he was also called Dick. And I guess my grandmother didn't want my dad to be called Little Dick. And this is something she said right in front of me once. And my dad, he was just red faced and he was pissed.
Alrighty, so where about in the world are you located?
Where am I located? I am located in Canada, Canada, or Soviet Kanakistan, because yeah, I'm pissed with the government. Specifically, the East Coast, in a little place called Nova Scotia, which means New Scotland, which is very apropos because there are so many friggin' Celts here.
And about how old are you, if you don't mind us asking?
You probably already had someone who did that line. Oh, I'm old enough to know better, but still dumb enough to do it anyway. But I'm not going to do that shit. I am 27. Just don't ask me when my birthday is.
Alrighty, here's a good question for you. What's your favorite cereal from the 80s?
Goddamn son. Well, I do remember the 80s, a bit of it. I remember Transformers and the original My Little Pony and all that shit. And also, God, He-Man, which it didn't dawn on me how homoerotic that was. But cereal? I'm sorry, I gotta take the cereal that is so perfect it has never needed to evolve. Honey Nut Cheerios. Good for babies, good for elderly, so good, like the shark, it never had to evolve.
What other kinds of food do you like?
Fuck Captain Crunch. I'll just throw that in there, just for kick. But friggin' weirdo, flathead. When it comes to foods, I'm a very, I like spice. I like burny things that are burny. In fact, I think with tastes, I'm extreme. It's like I like it really burny, or really sweet, or really sour. Anything else to me is just kind of it's bland. It's like, oh yeah, kind of spicy, but it's no, Pakistani biryani or vindaloo, or I don't even know what the hell that was I ate that one time, but my god, was it burny and tasty and had yogurt with it.
So you like stuff that burns on the way out as well.
Sometimes, I mean, I don't think, I do believe I told Takenoko, in fact, I know I did, but I ate a ghost pepper raw once, and that had to be one of the stupidest friggin' things I've ever done. Because one, I was alone, and two, the noises that came out of me, just this, and, almost vomited at one point, and it was just bad, and my stomach did not like me for a whole day. It
I
was
can
like,
imagine, yeah.
yeah, it was like pretty much clenching constantly. Like, eat a bit of tuna sandwich, clench. It was just like, fuck you, Nasir.
Oh,
Give me that friggin' horrible shit. Like 1,001, angry Assamese spirits went into my digestive system, and then promptly, not promptly, but after a day, came out. I resolved to never do it again.
That's a good life goal.
Yes.
So when you're not doing fluffy stuff, what do you like to do for fun?
You know what I like to do? I like to punch children, and by punch children, I mean click. No, I'm just kidding. What I like to do is, well, I am a bit of a gamer. I do video games, and I did do some tabletop games, role-playing games. I'm a reader, and of course, I'm still a bit of a writer. I do try to write things besides Fluffy Pony, but yeah, I've been kind of having a bit of writer's block with that. So I think writing Fluffy Pony has made me retarded slightly. That is a possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to dumb down your speech for how a fluffy would think or talk, it really does hurt the brain sometimes.
Oh god, yeah, that's why the last bit of like Maroon Fall was just took like 5 frigging goddamn months almost, because it's just I have to retard myself so bad. It's like it's a wonder I wasn't drooling all over the place and messing myself every few minutes.
so what kind of video games do you like to play?
Mine is the thing is I'm very eclectic when it comes to video games. Usually I do like my RTS, but I also like me RPGs, and I like some action. What I can't get into are sports and simulators, especially sports, because like why am I going to sit here and play electronic football when I could go outside and play friggin' football? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Or hockey. Well, except with hockey, I'd be I think what they call those like goonies. People who actually go out on the ice specifically to beat the fuck out of other people. Um, which is why I'm pissed with hockey. Nobody's like slamming each other, and nobody's like just getting to slugfest in the middle of the ice anymore. Uh,
All right, you mentioned you did some tabletop gaming. Were you like games, RPGs, dungeon crawls, story-based games?
oh yeah. Well, I do all those things except dungeon. I don't think I've ever really done a dungeon crawl, but I have ran and played in role-playing games, story-based, and the more combat-y type. And as an aside, yes, I do have a Fluffy Pony RPG somewhere in the depths of my computer, which I kind of put on the back burner for a bit, and I might still try and churn out.
Oh, you should. We have, I think somebody made a mod to another game for Fluffy Pony. I can't, the name, Fiasco.
Yeah, and actually, it's kind of funny. I actually have a copy of Fiasco. I mean,
Yeah.
I have it, and I took a look at it. I'm like, this is really cool. It's like Fargo, the role-playing game. It's neat. Just horrible shit happens, and yes, but
I find the lack of dice rolling though. That's part of the
that's
fun for me.
I am. Okay, so you're not a guy who personally likes tons and tons of dice, and that's fine. Me too. I mean, I was right into Vampire the Masquerade for a long time, so I'm not now because vampires have gotten so friggin'. We've seen Twilight, right? That just killed it. Killed it. Done.
Eh,
Can't.
Oh yeah.
overused.
Overused and of questionable sexuality.
Hmm.
God.
So what
Ed,
other things do you like to listen to? Music, watch movies.
why no? I don't like to do any other type of media. Don't you know I live in a bubble? But to answer your being a dickhead. But yes, I do. I like music and movies. Why do you ask? Oh wait, interviewing. Whoops. Um, yes, I do. Specifically, I do like myself some metal, and I do like really big into V&V Nation. I guess they're electropop. But yeah, it's also a little bit more eclectic. One thing that I do like a lot, and I don't know why this is, I like Gregorian chant.
Gregorian
Listen,
chant.
yeah, listen to the monks just oh Deus Christus, just I don't know why it's just aesthetically pleasing to me. As for movies, of course I do. There's lots of movies I like, and I'm trying to think my favorite movie of all time. I mean,
That's a tall order. Favorite movie of all time?
Yeah.
geez, I know I can't say if this is within the top five. I know Snatch is way up there.
That is a good movie, yeah.
That is a good movie. Oh yeah. Oh geez. No, I like Guy Ritchie films. I mean, they're
So you
you know.
prefer comedy?
Oh, it depends on really the comedy. I like myself some horror as well. Both horror as in the creeping dread feel horror, and also just the splatter, guts, gore flying all over the place. You know, I'm not like one of those creepos like my cousin who's all like, oh Richard, I get sexually aroused by horror movies. Does that shock you? No, it doesn't. I don't give a shit about that. Whatever.
Right then.
Trying to be a grimdark kid. Okay.
Well, you are a writer. Have you been reading anything recently?
It's kind of funny that you said that. I am reading something recently, the sequel to my favorite book of all time. Surprisingly, it's not the Quran, and I feel so impious. Though that, no, wait, shut up. Never mind. What? Yeah, the Quran. Which I'm probably going to be reading a lot of very soon. But the book I am reading now is "This Book is Full of Spiders. Seriously, Dude, Don't Touch It" by David Wong. And oh, people must. I was listening. I was actually listening to an audiobook version of it on the bus, and I'm pretty sure the people who were getting on the bus probably thought there was something horribly wrong with me because I kept twitching and snickering.
You must be on drugs.
Oh, he must be on drugs. Totally not listening to something so absurd yet hilarious. It's just ridiculous. A car crashes. Oh my God! Open up the driver's side window. There's a little GI Joe figurine, buckled up in there, and it doesn't make any sense. That just made me go into a spasm. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's move on to some My Little Pony related stuff. How did you get involved with the show Friendship is Magic?
Well, friendship is magic. How I got involved, or how I came to
How did you like first hear about the show?
I first heard about the show is that I remembered I was so a few years ago. The very first time I ever heard of it, it was like it was a Saturday morning, and I got up and it was all bleary, and I decided to turn on the channel, and I went, oh, okay, let's look at YTV. It's like general youth channel. I don't know why I grew up watching YTV. I still do. I feel like such an autistic person, even though I am, but whatever. That's my excuse. What's yours? And My Little Pony was on it. And I was like, My Little Pony? That's a really old show, isn't it? Yeah, it's like with friggin' Transformers. I was like, okay, I'll watch like 5 minutes of it. I watched 5 minutes of it. I was like, that's fucking weird. I don't give a shit. And I went on my merry way. Then I started seeing it crop up all over the internet. I'm like, what the hell is all this horse shit? Literally. And people are like, oh no, man, so cool. It's this, that, the other thing. And it's like Powerpuff Girls, or it's like this and that. And I'm like, oh, these guys, man, these friggin' weirdos. And God, sweaty friggin' nerds. God, it's like, wait, somebody said Powerpuff, but I had a friend who liked Powerpuff Girls. That guy was a dick. I was like, oh, well, it's all over the friggin' place. I might as well, watch it. And, watch, see what's all up. And I watched the first episode. I was like, well, that was kind of crappy and stupid. Well, then again, it was the pilot, and pilots are crappy and stupid. I mean, that's just kind of a thing. Just, 9 times out of 10, pilot is poop. So, I watched the next one. And the next one. What a stupid show. And the next one. This show is so stupid. Next one. Oh, God. What the hell has happened to me? I like this show. So, it just snowballed. So, and I was like, oh, goddamn,
Do you have a favorite episode?
Oh, wow. That is a very, very good, that's a very excellent question. Favorite episode? My favorite episode? God, what is that episode with Pinkie Pie and the wee kids? The wee Mr. Cake and Mrs. Cake have 2 babies.
Ah.
Yeah, baby cakes or something. Baby cakes, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that episode. Especially love how it's implied that Mrs. Cake is like just an unfaithful whore. I love it.
That's one way of putting it.
Oh yeah, it's like you're both Earth ponies. Why is one a Pegasus? Why is one a unicorn? Oh, because this, that, he tries to rationalize it, and even the look on his face, the bugged out. That makes sense, right? Yeah, I'm just like, fucking whore.
Town slut.
So, speaking of ponies, which one is your favorite pony, and why?
Pinkie friggin' Pie. Why? Because Pinkie Pie is gangsta, son. You know what I'm saying? But that's not really the case. No, I don't know why I like her. She's goofy as all hell. She's breaking the fourth wall. She's charming, also a little annoying. But I can't really tell why. I'm not exactly sure why I like her so much. Maybe it's just because she's like, I'm doing my thing. Fuck you guys. I'm a friggin' eat cupcakes and do whatever I want.
Would you stick it in there?
I'm
Long,
a stab
awkward silence.
Weggies, I stab you. I'll stick it in you, and by it I don't mean my penis. I mean a knife. But death threats. Here we go.
So do you
So,
still watch the show?
I haven't bloody well watched it. Where I left off was somewhere just after that whole Crystal Empire shenanigans. I don't know why I suddenly stopped. I don't know if I was all caught up or if life got in the way or what have you. But I stopped around that point, so I haven't watched anything really since. I know, Twilight apparently becomes a Mary Sue really bad. And by Mary Sue, I mean just freaking an alicorn. So there.
So, do you want to catch back up, or are you just kind of over it right now?
Like I don't think about it a lot, but when I do think about it or something comes up, I'm like, oh, that show, I want to watch that show again. But then I'm like, I don't remember where I left off. Who, So I'm sad. I don't know where I'm supposed to start again. And I'm not starting from scratch either. I'm not going all the way back to episode 1. For you.
Oh man.
Like, how many seasons are there? Like 5, 6?
We're going into season 5 right now.
Oh God, why?
It's a good ways to catch up. So did you have a favorite music or anything from the show? One of the songs they did?
Oh, Zogme. That's a very good question. I know, for some reason, the art of the dress just seems really, I don't know. That seems just really well. That seems like a song is really well put together. I mean, it's not even Pinkie Pie centric, but it's just put together well. Now, if you're going to ask me if there's other songs like outside of the actual official show that I like, oh yeah, Pinkie's Brew. Yep.
So catchy.
Oh yeah.
So, how did you learn and find your way over to the Booru?
Specifically the Booru or Fluffy Pony, just in general.
I
Oh,
guess
Fluffy Pony.
probably Fluffy. Yeah, Fluffy Pony.
Yeah, because Fluffy Pony. That's a very good question. I was doing my thing, I was just mucking about. I think it was, oh God, what was that? Pony Booru. I was mucking about Pony Booru, doing all these things, and then I was like, what's this wee creature? What is this? Okay, it's like a really fluffy. Huh. Okay. And then I realized there were um, stories about it. And the very first story I ever wrote was something by that old guy, Fluffy Writer. That was way, way, way the hell back. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was like post-apocalyptic city, and Fluffies were around, and like the homeless people were burning them to death to, and then like the crazy biker gangs were torturing them all, and all this stuff. And I was pretty friggin' repulsed. I was even more repulsed the fact that I actually kind of liked the friggin' stories, and it caused me to feel really uncomfortable for a while. So that was me. Now, eventually, I just I let myself, I just read a few things, and I got thinking about it, and dawned on me. And I've wanted to say this for the longest time. It's like, well, that Fluffy Pony, that is a good piece of social sci-fi. That is a good piece of social science fiction, or speculative fiction, rather. Say a corporation made these friggin' creatures. Okay, they're supposed to be for kids. It's like, okay, well, what are all the implications of that? What if they reproduce and cause shite? And what have you? So I was like, huh, okay, well, there's some potential here, and there you go. That's how I all started. Also, may the moderators of Derpy Buru, may they perish with turds upon their lips for being dicks. Yes.
Alrighty.
So,
So what kind of content do you like to create?
Well, that's not redundant. No, I'm joking. But
I mean, is there like a specific genre you try to appeal to? Is it more just the stories you want to just convey that you come up with?
it's more so just whatever it is, pops right into my noggin. Whatever it is I can do. Like, I have done one or two abuse stories. I've done a bit more Hugbox, and mostly what I focus on is kind of the feral herd, fluffy abusing fluffies type of thing.
Sound of crickets could be heard.
Oh,
Come on, talk.
sorry. So, is there a sort of genre that you try to appeal to specifically? Like, are you trying to go for, I don't know, the sad boxers or the abusers? What kind of people are you trying to get to read your stories?
people who. Oh no! If I say that, everybody's gonna be like, "No, this is a fucking dick. I don't like him no more." But some people who who want just a little bit more than like cheap feel, cheap thrill from hacking fluffies to gobbets, all that stuff.
All right.
I do try to put like a little bit of little bit of thought into my stories and such, but I mean, you know I also sometimes don't put any thought into my stories, as we can see with the Q-tip method. But
And, well, to turn it on its head, is there a specific kind of Fluffy Pony story that you prefer to read?
uh, actually, yeah, I do, and this is gonna make me sound like a dickhead, but good ones. What? I'm sorry. There is more than a few people in the brew who just churn things out that are of questionable quality, at least as fluffy pony stories are concerned. So it's not like we're making high art here. Come on. Um,
So what?
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, to follow up on that, I just realized I only talked about stories. What about pictures? Like, what kind of Fluffy Pony pictures do you prefer to look at?
oh, geez. Hopefully, nothing by Fluffy. No, I'm just kidding. I like Fluffy. She's fun. She's a queefing and farting come up a lot in her stuff, and it's awkward. But usually when it comes to things I like to look at either something that's funny or kind of cute. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
even if it's like horribly like wretched abuse, like if it's well put together, not just kind of like if it's well thought out, well presented, or it's a neat concept, then I like it. But there are a lot of friggin' people who go into MS Paint and just mishmash these friggin' things together, just like what's it? This is a fluffy. It like has like no definable head, and here's like a knife that doesn't have a handle going into it. And ow, I hurt.
Hey, I use MS Paint.
Well, you're stupid then. Get out of here. But so there you go. But
Okay, so what do you think the relation of Fluffy Pony and Fluffy Booru is to Friendship is Magic?
what's the relation to it? Um, I was going to say, what did it, very tenuous. I think very not tenuous. I don't think, but it's very little, at least anymore. I think it's kind of you can think about it, and maybe Fluffy Pony is kind of sort of in a way thumbing its nose at Hasbro, kind of sort of, because Hasbro was really like My Little Pony is their cash cow now. It's one of their big things. Not only do you have little girls liking it, but you have these like greasy big men who of questionable hygiene and maturity who also like it. So I suppose you could kind of say, Fluffy Pony is kind of thumbing its nose a bit. Like, yeah, if you could make like retarded baby horses that people could, take home, you would, wouldn't you, you bastards? So,
Yeah. When it comes to Fluffy Ponies, do you have a specific set headcanon for them?
specific head canon. I suppose I do. Most of my head canon is pretty damn vanilla, all things considered. They like skitties. There's some freaking special huggies. They generally make a mess in regards to bodily functions. When it comes to their size, they're usually around the size of like a Shar Pei or a Shih Tzu, in my head, at least. I know some people make them a bit bigger. I think one person said like his fluffies were the size of bulldogs, things like this. One of the things that I do, which I don't think a lot of other people do, a lot of people they like to make fluffies these like they live for like 4 years and then croak. But
Mhm.
I make it so that they live at least 10 years. They could live even longer if you take really good care of them, and that's because I cannot, for the life of me, fathom why someone would pay almost 10 goddamn grand for something that's gonna last like 3 to 4 friggin' years. It doesn't. In my head, it like even a purebred critter, I can't justify that. You know what I mean? So
Alright,
now if
well, you
it's
mentioned their lifespan for domestic. What about ferals? Would they also live quite that long?
probably less long due to the fact that everything's out to fucking kill them, and they're probably not getting the right amount of nutrition and things like that. Not
So,
getting
say ideal conditions, they're in a park or a field, a meadow, something that they would be kind of left alone.
left alone. Yeah, they could conceivably live up to 10 years. This is assuming that they didn't die of exposure or something of the like. So
So,
it's
about how intelligent do you think your Fluffies are? Because, like, I've heard from a lot of people that they think, oh, well, the Maroon series Fluffies are a lot smarter than usual Fluffies. Like, what do you think about the intelligence of your Fluffies?
George's wife Fluffies. Usually what I go for is they usually have the intelligence of at least a 3-year-old. Usually. Usually. Um, I'm pretty sure that doesn't count as intelligent by anybody's standards, really, but and that's usually around where, because they can't count after 5 most of the time. It hurts them. The concept hurts them. It hurts their little heads. Now, I also make it a point that there are smarter fluffies, who might have the as much as like a intelligence of like a 7-year-old, but those are very rare. And you can usually pick them out because they're not as rambunctious as normal fluffies. They're usually a tad quieter and much more observing. So I'm not too sure if even you could say they're more intelligent, just more perceptive.
Alrighty. Concerning Smarties, what's your headcanon on what a Smartie is?
The Smarty is that's a good one. Usually they're an alpha, or even just they could even have just an alpha personality, like uber alpha, like jocktard alpha. You could argue at least, but Smarties, they're either, of course, obviously, leaders of feral herds, or they're just very, very, I want to say, not necessarily ill-behaved, and not nasty either, but they're just very, very over-assertive, oftentimes spoiled. Not always, but oftentimes. Dis Smarty land, no, you give Smarty Sketty's daddy type thing.
So do you think it's more of a learned behavior, something that maybe they become more selfish, or is it more of a like a gene or something that's kind of just in them?
Yeah, nature versus nurture. Yeah, that's a real good one. It might be more nurture, at least with the very kind of spoiled, you know, this fluffy when or this smarty now, stummy daddy type thing. As for smarties out in the friggin' out in the wild, that's less of them being greedy little bastards and more just they're competent not to give everybody in their herd killed. Or they're, the strongest or something like that.
Speaking of strength, do your Pegasi or unicorns have any special abilities compared to Earth ponies?
Not real. Besides, some unicorns can produce sparks, and that's about it. That's about the long and short of it. And even then, not every unicorn can. It's a little bit like whistling to me. Some people can whistle, some people can't. Some people can learn, some people can try for just forever, and they can't do it.
Hmm. What about Pegasi and alicorns?
Pegasi, there's nothing really special about them. They have wings, they flap a lot. They're not as robust as the other ones. Now, alicorns, likewise, of course, are even smarter than smart fluffy ponies. They can get up to the intelligence of an 8-year-old, and many of them can produce sparks, not all of them.
All right. Considering you mentioned their wings, they flap them a lot. Do you view them as just it's physically there, but they're not flight capable like ever?
No, well, in my head, it's just they can flap all the hell they want.
I mean,
They're
just like
not going to be.
small, ineffectual things. Like, I mean, never mind all the other reasons why they can't fly, but I mean, the wings themselves, they're just like undersized, ineffectual.
No, they can't. If they had bigger wings, yes, but they just can't. They're gonna flap, and they're gonna want to jump off shit a lot of the times, and it's gonna hurt them, and them wingies get woked a lot of the times.
And you mentioned alicorns. Do you view mutations as something fluffies would fear or worship?
That's kind of the thing. It comes down to actually, it's actually, I think I approached this in one of the church in class stories. Some fluffies usually some of the more perceptive fluffies will, actually like the alicorns and think they're super special. A lot of the fluffies who aren't so smart will see them as horrifying monsters they don't understand. You know,
Yeah, that makes sense. So, moving on to fluffy creation, like, what do you think? How do you think they came into existence?
I've always done. Well, the thing is, before the third moon fell from orbit, before the nine continents were formed from Pangaea's shattered surface, there was some shit that was completely irrelevant to fluffy ponies because they totally didn't come, didn't come about until then. What it was I do the whole very vanilla has bio thing. You know what I mean? It's like they're trying to muck about and make this new critter because MLP's so popular, and they want to try to regulate it. But lo and behold, PETA got hold of them, and I think we all know that whole story, right? It's a pretty common story.
Well,
Don't
it
need to,
changes depending on people's headcanon.
yeah, but mine's the very vanilla. PETA done friggin' let these critters loose, and now they've just kaboom, populated everywhere.
Speaking of populated everywhere, do you view them as like infestation levels? Ponies everywhere, problems in the cities, or something to a lesser degree?
Um, what I what I say is that they were a very, 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 very bad infestation until Cleveland happened, and that made them all very much more manageable. You know what I mean? Because I don't think there's official count of how many fluffies went up in that whole debacle.
So you consider, the whole Fall of Cleveland story arc to be part of your personal canon?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure Lord Nubis will be happy to hear that.
Well, he's sure.
So, what do you think of
So,
some of the fluffy spin-off things, such as cotton fluffies, garden fluffies, sea fluffies, griffins?
Well, I rather like sea fluffies, and I rather like puffy griffins. Now, with sea fluffies, I've kind of made it a thing where people don't. There's rumors of them being around, and there's maybe a few blurry videos on the internet of sea fluffies being a thing, but nobody's actually gotten their hands on. So they're kind of cryptid. You know what I mean?
An elusive.
Elusive critter that you can't really get your hands on. Though if you could, you're gonna make money. I'm not very. I do like the griffins a lot. I think they're fun. It's like, oh god, they're all German. It's so funny. I don't like how they're kind of people have called them kind of Mary Suey, and I suppose maybe they are to an extent because they just shred the hell out of fluffies. So I still like them. As for cotton fluffies and garden fluffies and spider fluffies and all that sort of stuff, it's just no, no. That's just no. I don't like them. Don't like them, and that's that.
well, speaking of fluffy spin-off things, there are a few things in the fandom that some people argue, whether they're fluffy related or not, and we'd like to present a few of those to you.
Certainly,
The first would be Flufflepuff.
Flufflepuff. Oh boy, here's the big one. Because regardless of how big you are into Fluffy Pony, how deep you are, you cannot completely sidestep Flufflepuff. Mixer Mike friggin' made her, and like it the hell or not, she's connected very, very, very lightly with our fandom. It's kind of one of those things.
What about some OC characters that aren't fluffies, like Noodles or Phil's a Pikachu? I'm just a pair of legs.
Well, the thing is, having OCs, I think, is completely fine. It's utterly fine. The only thing that kind of gets me and kind of makes me like, is when people will post comments, or not comments, but comics, and there'll be the OCs in there, but there's no friggin' fluffies. There's no proper fluffies in it. That kind of makes me like, nope, that's not. That's nothing to do with fluffies. There's no fluffy in it, therefore it's not fluffy. Get out. I had it my way, my very draconian way. Um, it's like, oh yeah, it's like the Adventures of Noodles, da 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 da, and it's all noodles, but like he puts like my boy in like a rocking chair in the corner of one panel. It's like, oh, okay, well there's a fluffy there, so it's legit. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's a very hard line for me, but also you can friggin' Pharisee your way around it and find little loopholes. There's
Rules lawyering.
It is rules lawyering, isn't it? It is really bad rules lawyering.
And what about the Gellenheimer? Have you seen that thing?
My God, that I'm trying to remember it. I haven't seen. I can't put I can't put an image to the name. So the only thing I can think of is that it was probably so fucking bad that I forgot it. I don't know if it's the case or not. I can't remember what Gellenheimer is.
See if I can pull it up real quick if you want to ask the next question.
Yeah, sure. So we were just talking about OCs. Do you have an OC?
Why yes, I do. In fact, it might be playing in the background. I'm not exactly sure, but yes, I do have an OC. It's the Chicken Man.
That's the Jellenheimer.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no wonder I forgot it. See, it's shit like that annoys the hell out of me. It's just like, oh God, you friggin' guys. I mean, that hurts me. But I do have an OC, and that is the Chicken Man.
Yeah.
It
He
should be the
looks
one done
suspiciously like.
by BDB. Should be played in the background for this.
Yeah. If you were listening right now, you should be able to see it. Yeah. Looks suspiciously like the Hotline Miami main character.
Well, that's actually kind of funny. If you recall, beginning of the show, my name's Richard. And lo and behold, when I first got Hotline Miami, because a internet radio personality that I listen to a lot, people at Role Playing Public Radio, the main host Ross Payton was like, "Oh, Hotline Miami, XYZYX, oh, it's so great." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Okay, well, what the fuck ever, go beat the hell out of it." And lo and behold, it's like the first character you get, default mask is a chicken mask, and the guy's name is Richard, and I'm like, my God, this ams me's nows.
We is hotline now.
We ams hotline. Do you like hurting other people?
Just fluffies.
Just fluffies.
Alright,
Press R to restart. Continue.
one of the big things that you're known for is your long-running Maroon series. So, how did it all get started?
Well, how it all got started, I think everybody knows this story by now, but if they don't, I can honestly rehash it. It was a really long time ago, and, I rather liked, Fluffy Pony. I was thinking about writing a few things myself, because I used to write back in the day, but I was rusty as all shit. And lo and behold, there was the Martini story by Death Proof Pony going on. And people were really, really taking a big, smelly shit all over Martini, calling him like a fucking little rapist and all this shit, and bad Fluffy because I guess you're a bad person if you get put in a cage and forced to copulate against your will. I guess that makes you bad. The fact that your captor likes you, and all this, and just being really stupid. I'm like, these people are all friggin' numbs. Okay, you want a bad Fluffy? You sons of bitches? Okay, I'll give you one. And that's what it first happened. That's what first, kind of sparked it. Like, I'm gonna make a bad Fluffy. And at the time, I've been reading a lot of On the Rocks by Giant Neckbeard. And I was like, yeah, Fluffies actually having their own, friggin', turf wars and shit like that, and feral herds. Yeah, I like that. I think I might try to do something like that.
All right. Out of curiosity, how long do you think it took for you to finish writing Maroon, like from beginning to end?
Oh my god, I'd have to go to my paste bin. Like, when was, the first ever Maroon thing, started? That has got to be like a year and a half to 2 year story. That's how long it took me to write the whole thing. So
Uh,
it's just ridiculous.
Actually, when you uploaded the first part of Maroon, did you upload it onto Pony Booru first, or did you upload it to like Fluffy Booru?
Uh, I do believe it was Pony Booru. I do believe.
Ah, drats.
Oh,
Because I brought it up just to see if I could figure out the dates. And no, I guess it would be earlier then. You uploaded the first part on June 26th, 2012, on
Jesus.
Fluffy Brewer, I mean. So obviously you actually wrote it a while earlier.
Oh man. Well,
And
there you go.
well, there you go.
then you finished the epilogue on March 23rd, 2014.
Okay. That's so ridiculous.
I know, right?
I almost feel like ashamed. Also proud. I don't understand why.
So did you, when you first started writing it, did you expect it to take off, or did you expect it to be more of like a one-shot kind of thing?
I knew I was gonna write like maybe a few stories and see how people liked it. I did not expect people just to like, oh my god, and just muckle right onto it the way they did. I mean, I was like, yeah, there's a thing. You wanted a bad fluffy, I gave you a bad fluffy, and then people are like, more bad fluffy. We need more bad fluffies. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, yeah. All right then, yeah. I start very Nick Cage about everything. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, totally, yeah, it's good, yeah, it's good, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? So,
So was Maroon or any of the other characters you added along the way inspired by anybody or even members of the Buru?
uh, inspired by anybody? Yeah, yeah. I'm very glad you're not naming the one character I know you probably want to name because I will get so pissed. But Maroon, I actually mishmashed him from a few different people. One fictitious, all the rest, real life people. The one fictitious person based him off of a little bit, mostly the berserk rage and the nose bleeding, was Angron from Warhammer 40k.
Oh,
Um, and he's going crazy, hacking blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne, and having friggin' giant implant in his head that makes his nose bleed and make him go crazy. Yeah. Then a lot of it was actually a lot of people say, oh, it was Hitler, right? Hitler. It's like, no, it wasn't Hitler. It was Slobodan Milosevic
Oh.
because he was a fucking asshole. So there you go. Um, it just dawned on me. It's like, yeah, he was trying to get rid of like kick everybody out of Serbia. Anybody who wasn't, you know, Serbian and Orthodox Christian, I think it was, though I might be mistaken. I can't remember. I was like, a little kid back then. Power Rangers was a thing. I cared more about Power Rangers than I did friggin' politics. What a sad world that was.
well, you're still a kid, so it makes sense.
Eat my asshole. You dickhead. So, still a bit. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and I also took little bits and bobs from like Pol Pot, and yes, even a bit from our boy Genghis Khan, because he's the Khan. Temujin.
Was there any fan input as to the direction of Maroon, like as it kept on going?
A little bit. There was a little bit, especially around the very beginning, and that was I know one or two people like I did ask people, okay, so friggin' what do you guys want to see next? And one person was like, oh man, I want to see Maroon like duke it out with another Smarty for control of another herd and all this stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and I'll write that in there, sure. And apparently I wrote it in like twice. Well, not twice, but there was because Stone wasn't a Smarty; he was just a toughie. But yeah, so little things like that. I would ask, do you want to see this? Do you want to see that? And I actually that little side story, Sparks and Cuddles, where it's kind of, oh god, this is how you know I'm like so hard to romance with fluffy ponies, just so stupid. Um, but I mean, it made some feels. So there, I even asked, like, would any of you guys be okay with that? And they were like, sure, you can try that. And I'm like, okay, I tried it, and lo and behold, people like that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, good.
Fapping intensifies.
Yeah, fapping intensifies to cuddles and sparks, sharing a moonlight kiss. Fluffies, they're retarded baby horses. I mean, I suppose maybe it is sweet, but there's also just something stupid about it. Oh yeah, fluffies, right?
There's your answer. It's Fluffy Pony. So now there is a supremacy aspect to Maroon's behavior. Was that around from the start, or something that he developed as the story matured?
Actually, I made that kind of a since I did base him off of Slobodan Milosevic. I did make that kind of a thing from the start. You learn later on, why exactly he thinks the way he thinks, why he's come to this conclusion. But yeah, no, going out the door, I just thought, okay, who are the biggest fucking assholes in history? Well, those guys, the guys who just like murder people for being the way they are, who just wholesale like get rid of these whole people. Just get these friggin' XY, these Armenians here in Turkey, get the fuck out. We're gonna kill y'all, type thing. So I was like, yeah, you have to be generally speaking, genocide. That's bad, and I want to make a bad fluffy pony. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
That makes sense.
It's so uninspired as shit. Even I have. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's so uninspired, but it's popular. So, uh, woo me, I guess.
Hmm. So now that it's over, do you have any deleted scenes or any cut content that you wish you put in there?
Yeah, there's a few scenes more towards the very end of Maroon Fall, which I didn't get the chance to stick in there. It didn't flow with the story, or it took away from it. Two scenes that pop out in my head are, and now I know you haven't read like all of them, so this is to those of you who there's a little bit of spoilers. Is that one scene was involving the nearby train tracks. I was going to have Sparks and Cuddles witness the train going by, because this is what the Aesir do to their cults and fillies to make sure they're brave, and so wins the Aesir's respect. The other one, the other scene that I wanted to put in there was after the big huge climax. Queenie was going to go over to Balder and be like, "Yes, you saved us. Please, you can put it in me," and have Balder's special friend, his Bond friend, come on by and like smack Queenie around, and be like, "I hate mares like you who use their pee-pee places to get what they want," you know, you know, frig you. I didn't use my pee-pee place to get my husbando. I use my muscles. Because if you read Bond Friend, she pins the fuck out of her mate, and that's what makes them. It's like, yeah, you're mine now. That's how it works in this herd. What you gonna do about it? Girl power. So there you go.
And so I know the series is over, but are you thinking of doing anything in the future with the characters, like prequels or sequels, side stories?
Well, there is going to be more than a few Stompy Chronicles, and I think I'm going to make those all. I'm going to try to make them all stories that you can chew up. Like, just you can read them all as a big series, or you can read them just like one, and you're fine. So it's just, what's Stompy doing a day? He's stomping a thing, you know. Walking through the forest with his 6'4", stomping a bitch, smacking a hoe. I don't know. That's silly. That's stupid. I'd ask you to cut that, but please don't cut it because it's me embarrassing myself. And of course, eventually it's going to be the rink. It's fucked now. No Fluffy goes into it. But Prince and Princess are going to come back. But they're going to come back with different herds, and they're both going to want that rink. So,
Is this teasing about a new upcoming series now that
oh
Maroon's
maybe,
over?
oh maybe. Maybe it's
Maybe.
teasing, or maybe
Maybe.
I'm just leading you on with a bunch of hopeful shit and hoping to dash all your, dash your hopes, because I'm a dickhead.
Let's build the hype train and piss
Oh
off
yeah,
Hypey.
just toot toot toot. Don't hype it up too much now, man. It's not fucking hyped. I, I, I did, like I said, Big Field's gonna get stained with blood, and people are gonna get killed, and nothing's gonna be the same. And lo and behold, nothing is the same. So there you go. Ass.
Alrighty, moving back onto the fluffy stuff. Is there anything you'd like to see more of in the future on the Booru? Any specific type of tag, act, genre?
Oh God, that's a very good question. That's an excellent, excellent question. Any type of tag? Well, my God, other than more art from like Santanon and Fluffy. Besides that, I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Uh, it'd be neat to see some more lightly comedic Fluffy stories, but whatever.
All right. When you're looking for specific things on the brew, is there any old members that you'd like to see come back, or wish they never left?
Hmm. I wish he pops in from time to time, but I really wish, I wish the best for Giant Neckbeard. I wish he would come back, but he's having some issues way down under down there, and not saying he has VD. He's literally just Australian. So yeah, if he has VD as well, I'm very sorry, Giant Neckbeard. Um, I wish he'd pop on back and do a thing or two. You know what I mean? I also kind of sort of miss chaotic laughter. He also pops in once in a while, but doesn't contribute as much. No more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any kind of story that you haven't really written that you'd like to try your hand at?
What an odd question. And that would be telling, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Oh, so yeah, but that's another thing too. Being original is a Herculean feat. So yeah, I hope I can make something new and original, but don't count on it.
Yeah, it was a lot more easier, 2 years ago when you could make something a little bit more original.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I mean, at the time, I guess Maroon was the Fluffies and Maroon were really really smart for the time, but now all Fluffies are just as smart as Maroon was back in the day.
And our final question. What motivates you to create Fluffy Pony content?
Mostly, it is sharpening and getting the rust off of my skills as a writer, because I used to write back in the day, and I'm using this as as kind of exercising that creative thing, creative muscle in the brain, creative. I don't know what part of the brain makes creative shit. I don't know, right brain, exercising the right brain. So then eventually I'll actually make a big fucking novel and get my monies. Hopefully. Uh,
That's a fine goal.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Nasir, before we let you go, we have some questions submitted to our Tumblr account. We'll put the address up on the screen for anybody else who wants to ask questions in the future. Let's go with the first question. Do you have it, Tuck?
Alright, first question. How do you feel about people not really caring about Maroon anymore?
What do I feel about that?
Mhm.
I feel you know how I feel. People better friggin' recognize. You know what I mean? They better recognize. You sons of whores, I made Sleep Forever.
Forever Sleepies.
In fact, you know what? I'm gonna, just put my balls out here. I freaking crown myself the king of Fluffy abusing Fluffy. There.
There you go.
Lord
Speaking
High Regent, Kaiser, Caesar, Czar, Celestial Emperor, whatever. Me
speaking of
king.
fluffy on fluffy abuse, Anonymous asks, "What's your stance on envy babies?"
Envy babies. No. Just that's so stupid. That's so stupid, and the fact that I don't know what the heck it was involving Aichi and talking to somebody or talking to some group, and they like to read fluffy stories. I'm not too sure Shadow Fluff had something to do with it, like some reader society. But anyway, they asked him, it's like, "Whoa, what's the newest fad?" And he's like, "Infy babies." And now everybody, potentially thinks we're all like a bunch of like drooling pedos, and I'm just, I
If they
have to
didn't
say,
already.
if they didn't already. So I just have to say, yeah, no, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, no.
Speaking
All
of
right.
rape and the fluffy culture, do you believe that they are just instinctually driven, or is it more of a choice like humans have?
Both. They can give the special hugs, and they really, really have that drive to, but sometimes they can restrain. Sometimes being the key word here.
Mhm.
You dig me?
Yeah, I dig.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so Anonymous said, not a question, even though this is a question. I found it hard to suspend belief when reading Runefall, as a human or predatory animal could easily kill the whole herd. I guess he was really lucky then?
That's the part you have a hard time suspending your disbelief about. Genetically engineered retarded baby horses, and them survive. Don't waste my time.
Alrighty, Anonymous asks, what is your response to the criticism regarding Maroonfall being about humans acting like humans in fluffy pony bodies?
Well, I mean, for that, I have to say, to that person, would they have found it objectionable for any of Richard Adams' stuff? Richard Adams who made Plague Dogs and Watership Downs. Like, would they object to that? If they don't object to that, why object to this? I mean, what they are practically like, little retarded humans. Except they don't chew up welfare. Oh, shit.
All right, and final question. If Fluppies were an ice cream, what flavor or breed would you eat?
I wouldn't because, it would taste like shit. Just not even human shit, but fluffy shit, which is probably much more acidic and probably tastes like, shit that someone pissed on and then, cursed at for several hours. That's probably what it would taste like. So no, I wouldn't. No.
Artie, is there any parting words you want to leave with us today?
Um, all hail Korok.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your cooperation in this series to meet the content creators of the Booru, and we hope that you pick up a few more fans today. I've been Weggies.
And I've been Takenoko.
Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.